Okay. Okay. Next to blue here. You should know that. That's whatever. This is a stream of consciousness type thing. Just to get some words out. This last year has been hard. Really hard. Between being addicted to Kratom and just feeling super uninspired with everything. I just find it hard to create sometimes when I'm in the midst of, like I don't want to call it a bender, but like when I'm in it, when I'm in the Kratom zone. When I'm using I'm 10 days off of it now, but I would use the tinctures, like the extracts. I would do those. I'd take a little bit throughout the day, usually be around 5 to 7 milliliters, right? It felt good. And, I've been off and on this stuff for like damn near 6 years now. And if you guys don't know what it is, it's just like Kratom is like a plant. And in the plant is this stuff called hydroxymitragine, I think. And it's a chemical that acts on your mu opioid receptors. So people will say, like advertising people will say, well, I guess the way it's advertised is it's like a cup of coffee, or it's like a natural supplement to help with mood, to give you like a stimulating feeling, which is sort of true, but not really. Like if you want to be honest about it, if you take enough of it, it feels like popping a perky, dude. It feels like popping a fucking Oxycontin, man. Especially under the right conditions. Like if you eat just a little bit and then you take some, it feels fucking great, depending on who you are. It's awesome. It literally feels like a fucking painkiller. And I love pills. So I quit that again for the 6th time in my life. It seems like every year I would have this point where I'm like, oh, I gotta stop. It's not ruining my life. This isn't something that like ruins your life. It's not as dangerous as like typical painkillers and opiates because it's a lot weaker. And that's just kind of the only reason why, but it does make you numb and passive. And, when I get off and I'd relapse and I'd feel really good and I'd be on my shit for like months. And then there comes a point when you're taking this stuff every day when it just like turns on you and you kind of just become like just like not a zombie, but like you start isolating more and you start, being okay with the boredom that's wrought from this thing. And I think there was an element of me self-medicating for depression and anxiety. I think mostly depression, just because I do get anxious and I have had really big problems with anxiety. But I think for a long time in my life, like almost forever, as far back as I can remember, is like I've been depressed. And it's gone anywhere from like this low grade depression to like really down, but there's always like a gray cloud over my head. Always. It's been like this for forever, it feels like. So now I guess part of this recording is I'm trying to hold myself accountable and stay off this shit and like figure out how to deal with the depression more appropriately. We'll see how that goes. Also, beyond that, just feeling generally uninspired with the state of the world. Shit's bad, man. If you don't know me, I'm a guy who argues about politics and shit. I don't know if it's important for me to be yelling about it all the time. Like, I'm not yelling about it all the time. There was a time when I would get drunk and argue with people, and, you know, I just get really emotional and heated and, you know, classic. But, no, the world's bad. I think the real turning point was, you know, I mean, there was no real turning point. So we've been just kind of like slowly, like kind of slipping into fascism in the United States for a long time. Basically, before Trump was a president, like the tide was kind of turning. I think the last like real peaceful like year of like the neoliberal kind of like culture and order was 2015, 2016. Once Trump was elected, like everything kind of changed and it knocked everybody into like kind of like a psychosis, and also like kind of forced everybody to see what was happening. I think that happened to me. You know, I had suspicions that not everything was as honky-dory as we like to pretend it is here in this country, and now it's more obvious than ever. I mean, you look around at the ICE raids happening, those are legitimately terrifying. I have a lot of empathy for any people who are going through it, any family members that are going through this shit and being scared. You know, it's really fucking scary. It's not good. You know, it's like it feels, especially like the creating music is one thing. Promoting music in times like these it seems so horrible. It seems horrible. Like I feel like a guilt and a shame to be promoting my stupid electronic music at a time when this shit is happening all around us. And, you know, and I guess like, you know, it's not really fair to put that pressure all on yourself, right? It's like, okay, like there are things you can do, but like, I constantly jump back and forth between the I should just, you know, focus on this, you know, take the grill pill. I think Matt Christman said of Chapo Trap House is taking the grill pill. And I think it's just like, you know, engaging with the world around you in an authentic and meaningful way, and just kind of, it's like an act of like radical acceptance of the circumstances and riding out the last wave of this neoliberal order. That seems like the answer to it now is clearly going to be fascism at some point, at least for a little bit. I hope it's not, but that's what it's kind of looking like. Sorry to be doomer style about it, but you know, the Democrats don't do anything here, and the leftists, we need to get something together. Shout out Zoran Mamdani. Hopefully he's the spark to something there. But I think despite that, I think what I am sort of, the things I can point to that I am inspired by are exploring, you know, the kind of like the European techno, the German kind of techno sound, especially, you know, Ilian tape, Zenker brothers. I'm really, really into this music right now that is, it's like softer is not the right word. It's a more kind of intentional and like meditative kind of, it's kind of like melody pad, sample focused, like hip hop. It has very much like, it has like these hip hop sample chopping kind of influences, and it's really, really sick to me. It's really fucking cool. I love pretty much every Ilian tape release that comes out. I am listening to a lot just because I'm really into this sound. This isn't me saying, oh, I'm gonna start making music with Ilian tape in mind all the time. But I think that I've been on this kind of trajectory as an artist of going further back and kind of like acknowledging and exploring these, like, I don't want to say classic genres, but like, you know, these genres where the rules are kind of more established because they've been around for so long. And I think in America, you know, obviously, I think techno. I mean, I'm no electronic music historian. I know a little bit, but not a lot. Don't kill me. But techno is an American genre, I'd say. But I think that the Europeans have made it really interesting, in my opinion. And I would like to kind of reclaim some of that, if I can. So it's kind of setting a little goal for myself. But the words that have kind of been flowing around in my head in the last like 3-ish years of the kind of music I want to make is like, I want to evoke like a dreaminess. I want to put the music in a space, in a time. Kind of like, you know, how Burial's music all kind of, it's like, they all exist in these little worlds and emotions, like with the use of atmosphere and the crackles and the sample drums and noises. It's all very cathartic and meditative and tickles your brain, you know? And I kind of want to inject more of that in my music and kind of stop getting bogged down by the technical side of that. I've spent a lot of time, you know, perfecting like the technical side of like the mix downs and like how to make things, like why to make things, when to do certain things from an engineer's perspective. And I think those times I'm trying to get away from those, because that's not really being an artist, more so as being somebody with a skill set, I think. Right? I don't know if that makes sense. Again, stream of consciousness shit. I'll probably not remember anything I'm saying here or disagree with something I'm saying here once I'm done recording this. But, you know, just talking out of my fucking ass. So yeah, these are things I'd like to kind of pursue. I'd like to get away from the engineering side, the technical side, and I'd like to approach music in a more artistic way. And I think I have managed to do that at some points. But it's really hard to get into that mind space of just letting go of the video gaminess of the DAW sometimes. And like, you know, I got a few pieces of analog gear here that did help with that for a while. But the truth is I've gotten good enough at these things that they've kind of entered the same realm as the video gaming aspect, where it's like I'll be working on something and I'm like, oh, this is the perfect place to put this, or this is why I would use this pulsar hi-hat here instead of this one, or oh, the bass frequencies, like the whatever is happening on here sounds really good for bass, so I'm going to use this as a bass. This is the way my mind kind of works in these things. It's like there's like a puzzle, and these things all after a while fit into a certain puzzle that I create in my mind. It's like a system, and how do you break out of that system and just kind of let the flow state go? And what I'm finding is that it's sampling, it's sample chopping, it's it's really focusing on giving, like, restricting yourself to, for instance, I've been using a lot of Tracklib samples. Tracklib is amazing. It's gotten so good in the last year. If I know a lot of people have heard of it when it first came out, and they went on there and there was just kind of a bunch of nothing. Well, let me tell you, it's really good now. They have really, really good stuff on there. From like fully, they have like two types of kind of things on there to sample, right? They have like full songs, like old songs that you could sample in like a very classic manner. But they also have these like producers they contract to basically make like loops. Like they're not quite songs, but they're not quite samples either. They're in like that in-between zone where it's like it's just a full piece of audio with chords and the little vocal chops and synths, and they're all really textural, and they're so good. And I've been using these a lot, literally just throwing them in a sampler in Ableton and chopping them and putting drums around them, and it's really inspiring. But on the topic of flow state and like trying to get into that, just the pure like putting something in, getting something out, or I guess more so putting something in your computer, letting something on the computer change it and then listening to it and then responding to that instead of just straight up manufacturing something is really fun. And that's how I've kind of managed to get into this like flow state. But because it's like so immediate, it's like I want to change it and keep listening to it. And like, it's hard to ever find a spot where it's like, oh, I like this, I should just finish this. So, there's battles there. I'm conducting mind warfare with myself every time I do that. But it's good. And if you guys want any insight to my current workflow, it's that. I mean, anybody who's had a session with me in the last month or two knows how I'll go on Tracklib, I'll throw something in a granulator or the sampler, I'll chop it up, and I'll just make a loop with that, a very simple chopped loop. And the results are really pleasing. And I want to develop that more, I think. I should probably wrap this up. I've been rambling for a bit. I'm also going to the gym more. I'm trying to go to the gym more with my beautiful girlfriend, Kelly. She's been going to the gym, and we had a really good gym day the other day, and I'm excited to go again. I want to get in shape. I want to get my muscles back. The thing about doing Kratom is it makes you really okay with like not eating a whole lot and like just kind of being really sedentary. Got to cut that out. Got to move, because when I have muscles and I have like, when I feel fit, I feel a lot better. I'm a vain person. I like to look at myself in the mirror, and when I look at myself in the mirror, I want to look handsome. I want to look good. I want people to look at me and go, wow, that guy's pretty. Wow, look at that guy. He's handsome. Yes, vanity. Call it vanity, whatever you will. But it makes me feel better. So I'm trying to get hot this year. Just for me, really. And shit, I guess I'll probably just end it here. But I don't know how much I'm going to edit this. I might just upload this, and it'll be like a weird podcast thing. Maybe. But all right. That's it. Later.